So now, as we have talked about this, in the last session also, we have objects which are like, so Salesforce is basically formed of objects which are database tables, okay, and the fields which are like columns, and then we have app. Sorry, then we have a tab, which is a button to access a table, and app is collection of tabs. That's what we have. All right. So object is the database table, field is a column, then we have the tab, which is button to access the table, and then we have an app, which is collection of tabs. Right. So multiple tabs are called an app. All right. So that is what we have. Now we'll learn how to create each one of these. All right. So we took an example of a project management app. Right. So ideally what we need to decide on what all objects or what all data we will need to store for the project management app, and for that we will again need to go ahead and see what all fields we need to create, and then we need to create the tabs and then create the app. That's how it is. All right. So we'll go the other way around. We'll first of all create the app. Okay. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'll create an app, then I'll create object, okay, and then I'll create tab, and I will put the tab in app, and we'll repeat the same thing, create another object. Okay, after creating the object you have to add the fields in the object. All right, so this is what needs to be done. So let's get started with this example. First thing that we are going to do is just go ahead and add the app. So to do that you just need to go to setup. So very simple navigation from here. You need to go to setup, create apps, setup, create apps, and you just need to go and say new app. Select custom app, go to next, say project manager. Okay, it will ask you for a label and a name for the app. So name is something which will be used in programming later on. When we start doing programming, at that time name will be used. Label is something which is visible to the end user. Okay, what end user gets to see. Name cannot have a space because it's going to be used in programming. Label can have spaces and special characters also. Just go to next, don't do anything, click on next, and okay. So we are creating an app, and what is an app? App is a collection of tabs, right? So it asks you which all existing tabs you want to include in the app. So there are so many existing tabs: accounts, campaign, cases, contacts. Already these things are there, right? So you are asked here whether you want to include any of the existing tabs into this app. If not, you can just go ahead and say next. Home tab is there by default and you have to include this. So let it be there and just go ahead and click on next. All right. For this step number 5, you should just click on visible. What it is and why we are clicking on this, we'll talk about it a little later when we talk about access controls. For now, you can just click on visible and click on save. That's it. Your app is ready. Okay, where can you see your app? Here, under this drop down, project manager app. See, now you click on this. It just has one tab now, home tab, because I did not include any other tab. Correct. So my app is ready. This is how we start creating a new app in Salesforce. We have our project manager app ready, but this is a blank app as of now. There's nothing inside it, right? Ajinkya, can you understand this? What we are doing here?
Yes.
Yeah, got the concept? What we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
So basically, Salesforce gives us a default set of apps, and what we are doing now is we are just creating one more app, like something which is very specific to my personal requirement or my company's requirement. I'm creating an app for that. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need to create an app. Now we will create the objects and create the tabs for them and bring them into this app. All right, clear with everyone else? Okay, now let's go ahead and create the object. Let's say for managing projects, as we were discussing the other day, let's say I need a table to store all my clients. So table is just an object, right? In Salesforce, a database table, we refer to it as an object. So we have to create an object. Same navigation. Go to setup, create. This time you don't want to create an app. This time you want to create an object. So you should just go ahead and click on object. Done. Say new custom object. Okay. Give it a label and a plural label. Label can be clients. Oh, sorry. Client and plural label can be clients. And give it a name. Again, the same concept of label and name. Name is something which will be used in programming. Label is something which end users will get to see. Okay. Don't need to do anything else. Just go ahead and save it. Okay. You don't even need to scroll down at this point of time. You can just click on save. Your object is ready, which means the table is ready. Now this object by default comes with 4 columns. Columns are fields. Here we call them as fields, right? So if I have to show it to you what exactly is happening, so what we have done, we have created a table called client. Okay, and by default this table needs to have fields, right? So by default it comes with 4 fields: name, created by, last modified by, owner. Just leave these three things. Okay, don't need to get into this as of now. 4 columns are there. One is the name column, and then there are 3 more columns for tracking information about who created the record and all that. Fine, so just leave about this right now. Name is 1 column. Okay, so you can actually store client name in this column. Apart from this, whatever other columns you need, you have to add. Okay. Remember the other day we were talking about creating a list of fields which we will put in the object. So can you just suggest me one more field that I need to track for the client? Last session we discussed about it. Can you just suggest me one more field that we need?
Ad address.
I already have the name field address. Okay. So the fields that you want to add, by default, the name field is created. Three more fields are created, but I'm not getting into these fields now. These are for just tracking information about the records. So these are not the things that we need. Whatever other field you need, you should go ahead and add that here. Custom fields and relationships, just go ahead and add new address. Okay. So address, what will be the data type for the address? Is it going to be phone number or text or a number or a URL? What goes into address? Check the data type from here, the list of data type, and tell me what
Text.
should be the
Yes.
correct thing.
It should be a text along with numbers as well.
Okay. What data type it should be? Someone else.
Text area, maybe.
Why text area? Why not text? Let's as we do
Text
in.
may be unlimited. I'm not sure, but text may be unlimited.
Okay. Yeah. So description is given here. So text area is 255 characters. Text is unlimited. All right. Okay. So whichever you want, you can actually put. But the advantage with the text area is you can have multiple separate lines. Okay. Which means you can have 2 or 3 lines of it displayed. So address you might want to display it in multiple lines. For that reason, text area can also be a good fit, but completely depends on you what you want to select, right? You want a text or a text area or something else, completely depends on you, right? And your requirement. Let's say we go with a text. Then just go to next, and we'll have to give the field name. Address. Length, for text you have to define what is the maximum length allowed. Let's say 100 characters. Length is how many characters should be allowed in this field. I say 100, you can say 200 also. This again the same visible screen where you have this visible option, just click on this and go to next. We'll talk about this part later. Just make it visible, go to next. So now one field is created. Save it. I've created one field. One is name, the other is address. Do we need one more field? Let's create one more field. I want each one of you to suggest one field that needs to be created. Do I need one more field here? Be a little more active and a little more interactive in the sessions. When I ask you to mute your microphones does not mean that you should be completely inactive. Okay?
Yes,
Yes,
sure.
please. Manjit, not you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Ajinkya, you were saying something. I want everyone to be participative. I mean, don't say that okay, the
Yeah.
others are answering. Let me not get into it. Okay? Yeah, Ajinkya. Hmm. What other field you
Uh,
think we
uh,
need, client?
uh, like date of creation, like on which date it got created, maybe.
The client. See, this is a table where I'm tracking the
Created
details
by.
of my client.
Okay.
You are running a business. You have clients. What all details of your client will you track? That's what
Phone
I'm
number.
creating here. Phone number. Okay. Fine, Vipula. Ajinkya, you suggest something.
Email? No. Email.
Email for a company we can have, but can we have something else? Can you think of something else?
Uh,
You have
not
got,
exactly.
let's say you have got something to sell and you'll have to sell it to some companies. So what all information of those companies you would want to track? You have to sell it to some companies in, let's say, California. Then what all information of those companies you would want to track. Name of
Uh,
the company, phone number,
Company
yeah, email, then
address.
address,
address. Yeah,
which we have done. Apart from this,
it's already done.
And and the
Like,
department we are
yeah,
selling it.
the domain,
website,
Department. Yeah.
website. Yeah, website.
website or domain. Yes, right. So
Yeah,
this completely depends on the requirement of the company, what they want to track. Here, what we are learning is how do we create fields for that. So let's actually go ahead and create two more fields, phone and website. Okay. So for
yeah.
adding website, I need one more column or a field. Just go to new and add a field here. This will be website. Okay. What will be the data type for website? Just have a look
URL.
into this.
Text.
URL. URL.
What will be the data type? Vipul, I got
URL.
it. I got it. I got it. I'm actually trying to ask it from someone else
Yeah,
also.
that's why I'm quiet.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay. So fine. So data type is URL. Fine. You
Yeah.
can make it text also, but if you make it text, then you will not have the option of clicking on it. A URL
Hmm.
is like a hyperlink. Right.
True.
So okay, that's it. Now give it a name, whatever you want, website or domain or whatever you want to call it. Go to next, and that's it. So this way, whatever fields are required, we will, one by one create all the fields. And before we create these fields, we actually list them down, somewhere. So before you start creating things on Salesforce, you need to create a list of all the fields, right? So that you can do it fast. Then just go to in the last screen, because I have to create one more field. I can click on save and new. Do save and new. You can actually go ahead and create another field,
Okay.
which is the phone field. Phone field, what will be the data type?
Phone.
What will be the data type?
Phone.
Phone.
Yeah. Go to next. That's it. So my table is ready with 4 columns: name, address, phone, website. Click. All right. Click on visible here. Go to next. So I've created a table in the backend where I can store my client's information, and what all information I can store is the name, address, phone, and the website. If you need more information to be stored, create more fields like city, state, postal code, industry, revenue, number of employees. So there can be thousands of other information which a company might want to store. Not necessarily that every company will store all the information, but they may want to store different information. Whatever information they want me to store, they should create fields for that. So this is kind of done. All right. Now we are on. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is we are gonna on our object is ready, right? But this table is there in the backend, right? What I need next is a tab. Okay, so my object and the fields are ready. If I show it to you here, first of all, create an app, we have done it. Create an object, we have done the object also, we have added the fields. Next is create a tab. Why do I need to create a tab? Because my object is sitting in the backend and my end users need to access that object. And that can be done with the help of a tab. Okay, so I need a button to connect to that object. For a tab, all that I have to do is I have to just go to the setup, create same menu, tabs. So this time go to setup, create tabs. That's it. And go ahead and click on new tab, new custom object tab. Now to create tab for which object? Client object. Pick a tab style. Whatever, I mean tab style is just an icon for the tab. You can pick whatever you want. You also have the option of creating your own. So just pick box or something, whatever you feel like. Go to next. This step 2, you can just keep it as it is. Don't need to do anything. Go to next. On the step 3, you have to select under which all apps. So these are all the apps which are there in your organization. You have to select under which app you want to see your tab. I want to see it under project manager app. This is the app which we have created just now, right? If you want, you can include it in other apps also, but that's your choice. I just want to include it in the project manager app. That's it. Okay, and save it. Okay, do we see the tab here? We now have the option of clicking on the tab and then clicking on new and adding the records. Client name, let's say IBM, address ABCD, website www.ibm, whatever, phone number is, let's say. Got it? So I have created an app, and in that app I have a tab which is called client, which connects me to the database table in the backend, and I can enter information. Now I can use this tab to store client information. Save. You can go ahead and create more clients like this. Clear? Now for the same app I need another object which is called project. Okay, so this time what I should do, I should just go to setup, create one more object called projects. How you do this? Just go to setup, create project, setup, create objects, click on new custom object. The same thing, I'm repeating the same thing which we did for client. The same way I'm going to create one more called project. Save. So you get one field by default, the project name. You can add more fields. Let's say the project start date. Make it visible, go to next. Save. I need one more field called project end date. I just need to go to new custom field and select the data type as date. Go to next. Put end date. Next. Save. Right. Clear. Now this another object we have created which is called project, which has a name, start date, end date. You can put more fields into it if you want. Now once this is done, what is the next thing that I need to do? I have to create a tab for it. How will I do that? Just go to setup, create tabs, click on new. Uh, this tab is going to be for which object? For the project object. Tab style, go ahead and pick any one of these. Go to next. This step number 2, while creating tab, you don't have to do anything about it. You can just go ahead and click on next. Include this tab where only in the project manager app. Then save it. Done. So now I have two objects for this app and I have the tabs for them connecting from here, right from the app. Clients and project. Now you can track the project details also here. IBM marketing project. Start date is 23rd July. Let's end date is 31st July. Save. Is it clear? So this is how simple it is creating an app in Salesforce. It takes you a few minutes to create an app in Salesforce, but all the time which is required is basically required in planning of the app, right? Once you know which all objects and which all fields need to be created, after that it's just a matter of a few minutes. You just need to go ahead and step by step create things. Yeah, someone was asking a question. Any questions, queries on this?
Yeah, Jeet,
Hmm?
I have one question. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just wondering, we have created a client and a project two objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
So while creating project object,
Hmm.
I mean, in the fields which we are creating, should we have a field named client there? Since we need to identify which, to which client the project is linked to, right? I mean, is it necessary or?
Uh, yeah, in a way it's necessary, but that's something that we'll do a little later. It's required,
Okay,
but we'll
okay,
do a
all
little
right,
later.
okay, okay, okay,
We'll
all
do
right.
that connection also. All right.
No, I
So
was just logically, I was just thinking that
ideally,
is it
yes.
necessary that okay, ideally, all right, okay.
Jeet, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a previous session we did export or import. So it's related. I'm relating this with the today's session. So can we export or import data from the custom apps
Yes.
too?
Not apps.
Sorry,
App
the custom fields we
object.
created. The object.
Object.
Sorry,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
custom object.
Yes, you can import, you can export the data from custom objects also.
Thank you.
All right. So, here is the story. Salesforce has given you, pre-built set of apps, objects, database tables, fields. Now, because different companies can have their different requirements, different processes, and they might want to use Salesforce for different departments. So basically, Salesforce allows you to go ahead and create your own things also. So it does not, enforce you to work on, as only the, components which have been provided by Salesforce. So it's not like that. It allows you to go ahead and work with things which are available, or with things which you can actually create. Got it?
Jeet, I have one question here too.
Mm-hmm.
So you said the different companies have different requirements. So does all the company use this developer edition, or there are some more editions or available in the market which they can buy and use it? And are they same to this when we go and work there? So do we see the almost same things or the different things?
See, developer edition is just for the learning purpose, okay, and we are not paying anything to Salesforce for this. So this is just meant for learning purpose. When you are actually doing it for a client, you'll have to buy the license and it's going to be a different edition at that time, okay, and you'll have to make the payment to them for that. Got it?
But the things we are going to see almost same, or the those
Exactly,
additions?
exactly same. You will not understand the difference until and unless someone does not tell you that there's a developer edition. Okay, looks exactly the same, just that the developer edition has a very limited data storage capacity,
Mhm.
okay, which you cannot work with while you're working on a practical scenario. So for that
Mhm.
reason, you actually need to get a paid version of it. But
Mhm.
features, functionality wise, everything is exactly same.
Mhm.
It's
Okay.
exactly the same. Right? Okay. So now, just that, going back to the previous step again, that before you create an app, you should just open an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. The moment you have the plan or the thought of an app, you should just, open an Excel spreadsheet, list down all the objects and the fields which are required in that app. Let's say if I tell you that design a project management app, first thing that you should do is you should try to figure out what all data needs to be stored in the project management app. Okay, and this is how you should do it. We did it in the last session. Again, I'm showing it. Which all objects you need. So just make a note of your object and then just list down all the fields there. Name, street, city, state, whatever is required. Phone, fax, website, okay, and then try to make, so the first column you list down all your fields, second column list down the data type for that particular object, okay, name is going to be text, street address can be text, city can be a pick list, state can be a pick list, phone number can be a phone field, fax can be a phone field. All right, so today, once you go back and start working on it, I also want you to spend some time on that list of data types that you get to see. Spend some time on that, understand what data types are there. All right, this
Yes.
should be URL. So what we do is, even before getting into Salesforce, we kind of sort out all these things. So we don't actually go to Salesforce and then start thinking. Okay, so to be able to do this, you should know what all data types are allowed in Salesforce, right? The next is projects. So in project, I have a project name, then start date, end date. What else? priority, high priority, low priority,
Expected delivery date. Yeah.
expected end date.
Delivery date. Jeet. We had end date, right?
Okay. Now again, put the data types to this. Text. Start date is going to be a date field. This is going to be a date field. This priority is going to be a pick list. Expected end date is also going to be a date field. Right? So this is how it works. Now, if I have one more object, you should just list it down here, the third object. Got it? So this is how we start working on it. And then once you have finalized on all the objects and the fields and the field types, then you just need to go ahead and create an app in the Salesforce. Just keep on creating the objects, add the fields, and then create the tabs, put them into the app. That's it. Then it's going to be a matter of a few minutes. All right. So see, this is how simple it
Yeah.
is actually to be able to create an app in Salesforce. And now you know why Salesforce is becoming so popular. Because if you do this in same activity, the kind of app that we have created in Salesforce by now, in some other application or using some other platform or some other language framework, it will take you a lot of time to do that. However, because it's Salesforce and because it's, the platform is already there, it's very very simple creating an app. So all that you have to do now is just spend time on customizing this app and making it more useful for the end users. That's it, right? Otherwise your app is ready.
Yeah.
Got it? So this is the advantage of Salesforce. So when you started the training, I do not know, how many of you thought that so quickly you will be able to create a complete app. You actually design an app and it takes very little time. So we can then put more time and effort into focusing on the requirements of the end user. What end user
Mm.
requires, the way data should be stored, the kind of interface the end user wants to see, which is, which are the things which we are actually going to do in the coming sessions. But basic app creating and the creating of an app structure and creating the app, developing an app is something which is very very simple. So we have almost got into the 40-50% of an app designing without any hard work. At least 50 to 60% of the app is ready. A company can actually start managing their projects with this kind of an app also, right?
Yeah.
If they do not want to
Jeet,
put very complex logics and all that stuff. Yeah, Manjit, you were saying something.
yeah. Jeet, I'm just trying to understand, like, how far or like, how many companies would prefer to change the UI of the platform? I mean, maybe, there are brands like, which give more importance to branding as well, right? Or would they
See,
simply use the interface that is given by Salesforce?
see again, when I'm talking about UI, I'm not talking about the from the branding perspective because there's anyhow internal use, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your internal sales team is accessing it. So
Okay. Oh, yeah,
there will be
true.
very few company which will be so particular about branding that they'll say, okay, fine, for my internal users also I need very uh, branding sort of UI. When I'm talking about UI, I'm not talking about branding. I'm talking about the functionalities on the UI. What data
Yeah, I
you
got
want
it.
to see, which site you want to see, what data and all that stuff. So more on that part. Okay.
No, I was just trying to understand, like, commercial or live scenarios, like, how many would there be clients, like, who come up with, okay, I want my own, colors and, like,
Very rare.
tabs.
Not
Rare,
big
okay.
companies, those will be again small companies. Because
Right.
bigger companies will understand that where the branding is required and where it is not that much required because
Wastage, yeah.
more colors and images and whatever you keep on putting on this, that is in a way going to make your application a
Expensive.
little slow, no, not expensive, slower,
Slower,
and
okay,
which
yeah,
you do
true.
not want. You would basically want the application to stay light so that your users do not find it difficulty to use it,
Mm,
right? So that's how it is.
okay.
I've actually come across this kind of situation, but not against, no, not with any big client.
Large.
I have come across this kind of situation with small companies. So
Okay. All right.
that's another thing. So that's how it is. But again, so that's the part which we are gonna, now learn it from here, and we will be working on. But a basic kind of an app is already, there. So this is how simple it is to create apps. So now for project management app, in case you need 3 or 4 more objects, you can just go ahead and create the same way, include the fields, create the tabs and bring them here, right? So let's say under project, you have another object called assignment, let's say, or you have one more object, let's say, called consultant. Okay, people who are working on the projects. So let me just list down that object here. Consultant can have a first name, or let me just put it as name, email. What other fields you think I need to track for the consultant? Name, email, let's say phone, let's say
Employer.
sorry, title.
Designation would be there.
Title, okay. So
Okay. All right.
let's just put these fields. So all that I need to do is I just need to go to setup. Then where should I go? Go to create and then go to the objects and then go to new custom object and create the consultant object. The object is saved. I need to add fields like phone, email, title. Phone should be a phone field. Data type should be phone. Add in one more field, email. So there is a data type called email for email IDs. Make it visible, go to next, save it. One more title. Title data type can be text. Maximum length is 100 characters, go to next. Make it visible. Just go to next and save it. So the third object is also ready with 4 fields. All that I need is I need to create a tab for it. Just go to setup, create tabs. Click on new. This time I'm going to create it for the consultant object. Go to next. Select project manager. Save it. See, Client, projects, consultant, all the tabs are here now. You can add the consultants here, you can add the projects here, and you can add the clients here. Got it? So that's it. So today I just want you to go back and create a few, maybe try to create a couple of apps, create a few objects, put them into the apps, create the tabs, create the fields. Right? Tomorrow we are going to learn how do we set up the connection between these. So how do I connect a client with a project, or how do I create a project with a consultant? How do I connect these? All right, relationships is what we are going to discuss tomorrow.